approach today.
Yeah, no worries, Sam. And we are live. This is Addy Attic and Skywalker, YouTube's chosen one. This is Across the Pond with your host and our special guest this morning, this afternoon. If you're in the United Kingdom right now, is of course our favorite prison guard friend, Sam Samworth. Sam, how are you doing in Yorkshire right now, sir?
Oh, you're gonna have to practice that accent, dude. Or eight, or eight. Try that.
All right.
Or eight, lad.
All right. You know what I have to do is just listen a bunch. So next when I visit you, Sam, whenever that is,
Yeah,
I'll have to just listen to you talk to people, and hopefully, that'll improve my
I can't
Yorkshire
wait.
imitation.
We'll
Yeah,
be
man.
having Yorkshire puddings, yeah, and mucky fat on toast.
Okay. Okay. What is that?
Beef dripping. Do you know what
Okay.
that is?
Like beef fat or
Yeah, yeah.
mm.
When you cook the meat, fat and the gravy settle. Put it on your toast. Bit of salt. Food of the gods.
That's awesome. I've never had that before. I'd love to try that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And whenever whenever we're allowed to travel to other countries again. Oh, we got a Yorkshireman in the comments here. Sam thought you might like to know that Huddersfield he's from.
Yeah, Huddersfield.
Yeah. So shout out to Kieran for tuning in. But
Yeah.
let's get into your situation there, Sam. Any
Yep.
updates as far as Corona? I know here in Oregon, we're slowly starting to get the wheels turning as far as the economy. Some businesses, as of yesterday, were allowed. Excuse me, Friday, were allowed to start opening up. And what's it like in Yorkshire right now?
A little bit more movement, bit more traffic. You're allowed to officially travel a little bit further. Um, the concerns over you know the number. I don't know what they call it. The ratio, your chances of infecting somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's called
So they
the
want
R
that
naught.
right. The R naught. That's it. The R naught. That was about 0.7, I think, something like that. There's a bit of concern that it might go up now. There's a bit more movement. People are being encouraged to go back to work, where possible, social distancing, that sort of thing. You're allowed to travel. You say exercise was from your front door back to your front door. You're now permitted to travel with people from the same household. Maybe take your dog to a park somewhere or a beauty spot so you can walk your dog, that sort of thing. You can exercise as many times as you want outside, and a few other bits. So to me, it still feels like lockdown with a tiny bit of a bit more leeway. I went to see my sister today. She lives like 60 miles away, so just went on my bike, 2 hours in garden, social distancing, and then come back. So that was nice because I hadn't seen her for 2 months.
Oh wow! So you biked 2 hours there and back?
No, it's an hour there, an hour back. But we
Oh wow,
spent 2 hours in garden just chatting.
that's awesome.
Just went like that. So, it's a little bit more movement or whatever. Um, I still think it's going to be a good while yet before everyone's back to normal, as it were.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, it seems more or less the same to me. I did see a little bit more foot traffic the last few days, and a couple bars opened. So because of that, I saw more people out and about, specifically young people. But
So what are they doing in the bars then? Are they just like normal, just going into a bar and drinking like they normally would?
as far as I could tell, I mean, it's not. I guess it's more of a pub. I know I don't really go and like search for bars, but on the way to the grocery store, I pass a couple pubs
You're,
and
you're not
stuff.
young
And
enough. I mean, old enough to drink yet, are you? Eh?
I'm gonna take that as a compliment, Sam.
Yeah, do. If I were bouncing, I'd be asking you for ID, mate.
I
Definitely.
understand. Yeah, it's something I'm used to by now, but I don't know. Maybe it'll change in 10 years or 15 years, but hopefully not. I think that's it's a positive to looking so young. But I'm guessing you didn't really have that problem growing up, Sam, did you?
What, going in bars and things?
No, getting carded frequently.
Uh, when I was a teenager, they didn't particularly, it weren't so much that. I started going in a pub when I was 15 with two lads from school. Ian Broad, right? Ian Broad at 15 was 6'2", full beard, proper decent beard. The other lad, Nick Sedgwick, was about 5'9". He looked about 12, and I was somewhere in between. But we started going in the Bellag pub just on the outskirts of Sheffield, and we became regulars there for a good few years. So,
Wow.
it was all a bit exciting then. I used to like pubs how they were then. They were proper, not just drinking dens. I think now a lot of pubs people go in. You know, it was really social then. But you maybe stay in that pub all night, drinking all night, whereas now people are just tend to throw it down the neck and off they go, don't they? That sort of thing. So
So
I do
you
miss that.
Yeah, and that's pretty young to be starting out, and definitely not something I could have gotten away with at that age. But yeah, I do remember there was like one or two guys in my class uh, when I was like 14 that they could grow, full on beards, and like nobody else could. But
Is it
I think
21 drinking there?
yeah, 21, yeah,
21, yeah.
same in UK, right? Or 20?
Do you know what? I've actually just forgotten. 18.
Oh, is it 18? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Maybe someone in
18.
the comments can verify. I think you're right. Yeah, it's pretty absurd that it's 21. I think that law contributes greatly to young people going to universities and just acting really stupid and going nuts with
Yeah.
alcohol and killing themselves because they've never had access to it before, so they're not used to it and they just kind of go crazy. Which is why I think people in Europe and young people in Europe handle it way better is because
Well, yeah, they have a glass of wine, don't they? Water it down at 12. Glass of
yeah,
table wine with some water in and that sort of thing. Yeah, I tell you what, the culture in Europe's a lot different drinking anyway, I've always thought. Youngsters go out to like cafe bars, that sort of thing. Mopeds, you see, you can ride a moped, I'm sure in Holland and probably the rest of Europe at like 14. So I'd have loved that, me. 14, got a moped, go out, grab some fries and a milkshake or something and meet your mates. That'd have been fantastic. So yeah, Kiernan's saying 18. It's 18. It's who's that geezer? Not even moved from the couch since last week. I've got a different T-shirt on. I'm sure I have.
yeah. Shout out to Null Zero for that funny comment, and that is Marcus Aurelius in the top right there. But yeah, Kieran verified it is 18.
Yeah. So there's some bars in Sheffield. I wouldn't have thought they'd been able to do this, but they can, that are 25. You have to have ID and it's 25 to get in.
Wow.
And that is purely probably to get away from the sort of idiot mentality, getting pissed and that. So
Yeah, and the only thing that I've never heard of that before. The only thing that you need to be 25 in the United States to do, as far as I know, is rent a car. So you have to be 25 to rent a car, and I think you need a license too, in addition to being 25 years old. So like oh wait, can I don't know. I don't know if I want to say that, but so yeah, you have to be 25 to rent a car, but 21 alcohol, 18 tobacco. Yeah, and what is marijuana is 21, I think, in all of the states where it is legal.
have they decriminalized it then?
Yeah, it's a good question, Sam. I couldn't tell you the up-to-date decriminalization status on marijuana, but I can tell you that it's legal in Oregon, in Washington, in certain cities in Nevada. I know in Las Vegas it's legal.
Is
I
it
don't know.
legal to buy it or just legal to smoke it?
Another good question.
Just out
You
of interest.
Yeah, you can't smoke it in public. Um,
Right.
but people do anyway. It's like it's not really enforced in Oregon anyway. I can't speak that much on Washington because I mean, if you go for a walk every day, you're gonna smell it at some point, more than likely. So, yeah, I mean, people still do it on their porches and in parks and stuff. So it's not that well enforced. But I have visited Washington before and Seattle and stuff. I have never been to Vegas, where I know it's legal.
I'd love
I
to go to Vegas.
You'd love to go to Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been there. I would love to. I drove past it last summer, but
I'd like to do the Buffets. Is it the Bacchanal Buffet? Supposed to be one at Buffets in World, inside one at casinos. Bacchanal, I think it's called.
back and
Uh,
I don't know.
and I'd also like to hire a bike, Niagara Falls. 4 or 5 days, have a ride out, have a ride back, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that would be
That's on
awesome.
my to-do list.
Yeah, you are quite a biker then nowadays.
Yeah, I like my motorcycles, definitely.
Yeah.
I've
Wow.
always ridden bikes, last 40 years, so I didn't pass my car test till I was 40.
You just had a bike license?
Yeah. First 23 years of my life, just rode motorbikes. And I had a
wow.
three-wheeler as well.
Oh, nice. The new ones, right? They just came out with those a few years ago. Yeah.
These are. Have you ever watched? Oh God, what's it called now?
Hmm.
Come on, Kiernan, help me out. I'm having a bad day. Del Trotter. What is it called now? It was a sitcom we used to have on, Only Fools and Horses, and in it, the guy Del Boy had a three-wheeler, like that were his business vehicle. So a lot of people looked down on you. They were made of fiberglass, yeah. So when I had one, people used to laugh at you because they were seen as a bit of a joke. However,
Yeah.
they're a bit of a cult vehicle now. So there you go.
I remember that when I don't know about in England, but here in the United States, I think I was a sophomore in high school when they started to become popular in the public market. And that was something I recall too, is people get kind of teased. I remember like friends at the time I hung out with just making fun of those bikes. But I didn't really have a bone to pick in anyway. I've never
This weren't a three-wheeler bike. This weren't a trike. I know the ones you mean with the two wheels at the front. The Can-Am's, 2 wheels at the front and one at the back. The
I think so,
Spiders.
Yeah.
This was a three-wheeler car, 2 wheels at the back and one at the front.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You used to turn them over dead easy going round corners. weren't very stable.
I've never driven one of those before. I'd love to. That reminds me of like being in my grandparents in the summer and driving the 4-wheeler and like whipping it around in donuts. Don't tell my grandpa, but yeah, my cousin and I would do that sometimes.
It's a bit disrespectful, that, isn't it?
Well, potentially, yeah. We didn't do it when we were like really young, but yeah. Anyways, don't tell my grandpa, folks. Yeah, let's see what we got here for comments. Any news on Pepsi, guys? So I actually, Sam, this is something I wanted to tell you is yesterday I spoke with my YouTube colleague and friend Pepsi Watson on the phone as he was in prison, actually, at the Mount, at HMP the Mount yesterday. And he was saying actually that most of the victims of the virus have been prison officers and not prisoners themselves. So I think he said that five 5 or 6 have passed away, prison officers, due to the virus. He also said that he just got moved to a single cell, which he likes a lot because he can focus on his reading and writing. But that is just something I wanted to let you know, Sam, because I know that is something you're interested in. So
Definitely.
yeah,
I subscribed today as well.
to Pepsi.
No, I found his channel and subscribed.
Oh, thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. You should make your own
I
channel.
thought might as well since I'm a regular. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you thought about making your own channel, Sam, at some point, or?
Yeah, definitely. I was talking to a nice guy today. That's something I want to do. I want to expand my social media and then, go at it from a prison and mental health point of view. Not prisons and mental health in general as well. So, it's something to work on. I'll let you know when it comes together.
Yeah, definitely, Sam. But in the meantime, you are welcome on my channel as much as you want, sir. I definitely love speaking to you and the people who subscribe to me. There's definitely a subset of that subscriber base that just they always listen to us chat. And that's interesting
Oh, you need
too.
to give Dolly a shout out.
Yeah, Dolly. Shout out to Dolly. She's in the comments. She just actually watched my most recent video, her and Quadrex too, among a few other people. I do these videos, Sam, where I just kind of walk around. I go for walks every day, or at least try to. And then
I haven't seen them. Are they on? I'll have to look on your channel.
yeah, I just
didn't realize
started
that.
them. So I've only got like 2 or 3 on there right now. Excuse me, I'm getting a call right now. I gotta.
Oh, that's all right, mate.
Give me 1 second. Okay. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
About your walk rounds.
Oh, yes. So I've only done 2 or 3 so far, but yes, I'll walk around and then I try to focus on like a topic. So the one I just posted was basically my thoughts on the pandemic up to this point and how that has affected me. And I also did one on Mr. Epstein a few days ago before that. And yeah, so I'm just picking a topic and then speaking about it as I walk around. So it's nice for me because it combines my exercise, which is bare minimum. I try to walk every day, but I do my body weight stuff when I can too in my apartment, and just going into a topic that I'm interested in. And if people like it, then that's awesome. But I don't necessarily expect them to all be interested in it. Like I do have subscribers that they're only interested in me and you talking, Sam, or me and Sean talking. And I got other ones they're only interested in, they found me through somebody else, and maybe they don't know your work yet, but hopefully they'll find it. So it's kind of interesting like that different people who are subscribed to me actually pay attention because of different reasons. So yeah, shout out to Kieran. Yes, vitamin D, and that is something that has been shown to be a deficiency in people who are succumbing to the virus, who are having trouble struggling. It is a deficiency in vitamin D. But someone mentioned that at Hyde Park a few days ago there was some arrests. I don't know if you.
Yeah, there's been there was a bit of a demonstration about the illegal lockdown, as it were. A lot of different people there, actually. You got some far right, far left, some people in the middle, basically all not happy that the way things are going. The longer this goes on, I think there's more sort of people speaking out with different views and things like that, isn't there? As where they should be going and whether really, we shouldn't be, we should be carrying on as normal or whatever. It's always very difficult to talk about things like that if there's people dying, isn't there? Because you come across as a bit of a dick. If you say, if I say, well, economy's collapsing and mental health's going crazy and things like this, then you get put down the fact that people are dying. I know a lot of people in NHS are quite critical and vocal and saying stay at home, don't do this and things like that. So, oh, Jeremy Corbyn's brother was arrested.
I guess so. Yeah, that's what Dolly said.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a very strange demo with the mix of people. So, but I've noticed in Europe, I don't know whether I like to see what's going on in Europe. There's, you know, Madrid and that's been kicking off for 5 days there. People are out on streets. They're not happy at lockdown. They want to go back to work. They're fed up of having no money, things like this. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Sam? Do you think we should be getting back to work pretty soon here?
Do you know what? I'd like somebody to maybe compare this to other things. You need, it's very difficult for like somebody like myself or people who are listening. Everyone will listen to the media. I'll take one point of view from it. I'll maybe go against it. Somebody else will be for it. What I'd like to know is, I'd like to know some decent facts and figures. You know, how many people die of the flu every year that we don't talk about? You know, how many people have died of the flu this year? You know, how many of these deaths? We talked about this early doors. Yeah, share love, not fear. I'm with that. The media scum. We talked about it early doors when we first started chatting. Was it 6-7 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I said to you, if somebody was like in their last weeks of life with cancer and they got the virus and died, what would you put the death down to? And you said the virus. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Have you changed your view on that? Because what I'm saying is, you know, it sort of helped them on the way, but that should be part of the makeup. The cancer's killed them, the virus, because they were weak and the immune system were down. It sort of finished them. Them sort of figures also are probably quite important. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so, Sam. And I wouldn't say that I've done a complete 180 on that. I think it depends on the case, you know, on an individual basis, because I
think what we're looking for is some clarity and honesty.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't feel at the minute, you know, you're getting bits from everywhere. So
that seems to be the problem that kind of we keep coming back to, is the lack of credibility in sources, or lack of trust in the honesty of the sources.
Yeah. But I think open debate's been shut down. Maybe they should have a TV debate with your doctors, all your doctors from both sides. You know, people who study viruses, people who study immune system, put everything out there. As it is now, you know, the press, like your man in Huddersfield saying, it's all fear-mongering. And it's not doing anyone any good, really. So
yeah, I agree. I just, that's actually something I was trying to do on my channel with like my COVID roundtables, is just getting PhDs to talk, but it's hard, and there are definitely people who are scared to talk, nurses and hospital workers and such like, that are not speaking out when maybe they should, or people would benefit from them doing so. Excuse me. So we got a message from Dolly. 2 doctors turned on my mom's on Friday. White suits. She tested for operations she needs on one day. Results. Trust your intuition. Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's the one there. The geezer, it just flashed up.
Yeah,
Kieran. Deaths from other things and stuff like that.
Oh, no. Yeah, that was Useless Knowledge. That's his name. Is Sam a retired deputy? No, Sam is a retired police
cop.
Excuse me, prison officer. Yeah, prison guard. But yeah, let's move on from the madness that is Corona and get a little bit into your book, Sam. Which hold on, I think I tweeted you. but
did.
I got it right here. Got the physical
Glad.
copy. My pen is in here because I like to take notes when I read. But yeah, just way better experience to really hold the book and feel it. And I am on, let's see what chapter I'm on right now. I just started 13, Drug Soup. But yeah, so I'm on the back half of the book. Highly recommend people check this book out. Buy it from Amazon or Waterstones. I'll put the links in the description box below. But it's a great book. I'll put this ticker on, so get a little ticker going on the bottom. This is Sam's book. Mr. Neil Samworth, Life Behind Bars with Britain's Most Notorious Criminals at Strangeways, also called HMP Manchester. So it's dark book, comedic at times, entertaining at times, sad, and yeah, it's really up and down and tugs at you in a variety of ways because of the just the darkness of what is happening.
How are you finding it now you know me?
The book?
Yeah, reading it. Now has that changed the sort of how you sort of looking at it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, your ability to deal with these situations, I think, is like you have a gift for that. I think most people wouldn't be able to do that as easily, in the fact that you tend to have a really positive outlook on things, Sam, as far as I can tell. And
well, definitely.
I think that has really served you well working in a job as dangerous as this. But despite that, I think regardless of how mentally strong one may be, that these sort of experiences, they'll affect anybody. And I don't think it matters how tough you are. If you go through stuff like this, it's going to negatively affect you in one way or another.
Of course it is. It's you know, it's not only the dealing with people and the incidents. I'll tell you again, I've said this half a dozen times now, the prisoners were never a problem. Whatever they throw at me or threw at me, I don't mean literally, although sometimes it was.
You're on the big screen, Sam.
Yeah, she's funny. It's how people were treated, you know, the staff and that. It made it so much worse. You know, dealing with something that's quite tragic or, you know, can affect people is bad enough, you know, but it's just how people were treated. You can tell your man Kiernan, yeah, I've been on Sean Atwood's podcast a couple of times.
And James
yeah,
English's as well.
For me, that's what got to me in the end. I've decided it took me a long time to work this out. It's how people were treated, and I don't necessarily mean prisoners. All that, though, that sometimes was bad. You know, when you know if you're in charge of a situation, you can deal with it. What you don't want is someone over my shoulder making things worse. But just how the prison service reacts to incidents and treats the staff, they treated really poorly. I said the other day, again, you know, the things I say, I keep saying the same things. A prison manager, yeah, a good manager, all they have to do is look after the staff, yeah. They don't have to manage incidents, we'll deal with them. They don't have to manage the prisoners, we'll deal with them. But when you arrive on scene, just make sure all your staff, you know, are all right, or, you know, look after them. If somebody needs to go home because they're in shock, make sure they get home, that sort of thing. And although there were some fantastic managers that did that, you know, they get there, you know, suss it out and deal with it. Vast majority of them weren't. They come in like gung ho, make situations worse, you know. All this sort of off the cuff comments and man up and all this macho shite, like. Just get fed up with it after a bit.
Macho like.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, do you know what? Somebody messaged me. I've had very few, shall we say, troll type messages, but one guy messaged me after reading the book, and I read his comment, his negative comment, and basically said, "So you're the only good person in the prison service. All the others were bad. So all your confrontation was because they were all bad." I basically said, not all of them, but a lot of them, yeah. And that's what my every incident I dealt with at some point was confrontation with somebody else. And that's because of, how they sort of, no feeling for people's feelings and that sort of things.
Yeah.
Particularly nursing staff used to stand up for the nursing staff as well, because they don't take that into account. Being a prison officer and seeing someone suffer is bad enough. But you imagine if you're a nurse, you're there to care for people, and somebody's suffering, you can't help because the prison staff are dealing with something, and they just sort of, comments that had upset people and that. If they saw a nurse crying, no one would think anything about that. It's like, man up, get on with it, that sort of thing. And that's the sort of stuff that, pissed me off. That's the sort of thing that gets to you eventually. It's like inhumanity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm quite sure all these people with this macho bollocks at some point, it will hit them in the face. Do you know what I mean? They'll realise, or they'll think about things they've done, bad things to people, and it'll come back and haunt them. Definitely. So
when I spoke to Pepsi yesterday, he said that when he was at Thameside, he saw that it was the nicest prison that he had been to in terms of the facilities and the money that was put into it.
It's quite a new gaff, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think a new building.
It's the newest, I believe, prison. I think it's only like 6 or 7 years old. But he made the point that the guards at the Mount are much better. He actually had high praise for the guards at the Mount. He's just saying that
more experience. Tameside will have a big turnover of staff as a new prison. There'll be a lot of young staff, whereas the Mount, probably more experience there. Makes a big difference as well. So
yeah, and he said that even at the Mount there was a lot of, even though he did see a lot better quality guards there, he still saw inexperience.
Yeah, a lot.
Despite that, yeah.
It is a revolving door now. Private sector, there's always been a revolving door. Some people will get 6 weeks out of them, some people 6 months, some people 2 years, and they're gone. Because they see it as a stepping stone, or they just, it just gets to them. The public sector will be exactly the same now. Vast majority of people they're employing are young, under 25. A lot of them around the 2021 mark. They've got no life skills, no experience around them to help them, to mentor them, and they don't know how to talk to people either.
Yeah.
Plus the fact, someone made a comment to me about excessive use of force and restraints. Well, when I used to work on K-Wing with me Oppo Nobby Nobbler out at Book, once you got someone wrapped up, down on the floor, restrained, you cool about it. He knew what he was doing, I knew what he was doing, other staff did. It's dealt with. Whereas youngsters, that adrenaline. We had a lad who worked with us then. We used to have to take him out of the situation. He couldn't handle the adrenaline, you take him out because he'd be breaking people's arms and things like that. You'd just see red mist and it'd be, no control or anything like that. And that's the thing. I'm not blaming young people. They don't know how to react, but, they tend to overreact. It'll be excessive, and there'll probably be a lot more restraints than there needs to be, because people don't know how to de-escalate, or they don't see the warning signs and back off and maybe try to bring people down, that sort of thing. But that's just unfortunate, that.
Yeah, and another thing he said too, Sam, was that he said the guards at Thameside were a lot more abusive and just like inhumane towards the prisoners, he was saying. And eventually he got to the point where they just told him like, this isn't the prison for you and all this, and which he obviously enjoyed that move because it was a better situation at the Mount for him, not only because of the guards, but because he has his own cell now, a single cell.
Well, you know, again, it's people don't know how to react. Young people don't know how to react. And, you know, I've seen it myself, you know, people who, in adults, there was one prison officer I used to work with, you know, he would almost torture mentally unwell people. I pulled him a few times, me. You know, we nearly had proper
Gloves.
bit of, you know, somebody who's mentally unwell might say something and he'd be back at him, and then you'd catch him when he thought no one was around, you know, like taking the piss or having a dig and things like that at people, winding them up, you know, which there's no need for that. There's no need for that. Some of that is the job, you know, put good people in a bad place and they become bad, end of. That's what happens. But with maturity, you know, you learn to let something go, let something slide. If someone's unwell and they tell me they're going to kill my missus, you know, I know they're not going to kill my missus. It's not, you know, that's how people can be. They react, don't they? So, and it's about you not reacting, as it were. So,
yeah, and it's so hard for people to do that. But I think the point that you and certainly Pepsi voiced to me yesterday was, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the prisons if you don't have good prison guards, and to use your term, Sam, a good dynamic security, because
dynamic, that's what you need.
Yeah,
staff prisoner relationships.
Yeah, he's saying like even though Thameside is the prison that, as far as he's been in his experience, the one with the most money, he had like he's saying they had like computers in the cells and all this. But he said despite that, you know, it didn't really matter that much because the guards were not that good.
This is what people don't understand. Strangeways, lock somebody up in Strangeways, lock them in the newish prison. When they're on about conditions, they're not on about the cell and what they've got. They're on about how they treat, you know, how the staff are, the regime. You know, if somebody, you can put them in the worst rundown prison, building wise, you know, if you've got good staff and people get a regime, they get to the showers, you know they're going to get a phone call, you know they're going to get a bit of exercise or whatever, they're going to be happy. It's nothing to do with the buildings and contents, as far as, you know, what you get in your cells. Victorian cell from 1850 or one that was built in 2015 at HMP Berwyn. It don't matter about that. People don't understand that. It's about time out of cell at the end of the day, and that's what they need. You know, start building them relationships up, the dynamic security, and then everything else will come. But unless they do that, you know, they're not going to reform jack shit. People need to understand that.
It's a great point, Sam, and it goes back to a similar point you made with the judges and how they have too much power, and too much power is centralized into people. But in terms of the point you're making with the guards, just the fact that the system, or the physical buildings don't matter. You know, they don't really matter. It's the people. It's who the judge is. It's who your professor is.
The regime.
Yeah, right. Who is in charge of the regime, rather than, you know, what the hardware is, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, that's thanks for explaining that to us, Sam. Just got a couple comments. People who do not know their rights or the system usually get it the worst. Yeah, I think that's probably true.
It will be, especially with inexperienced young staff. Yeah. You know, as it was, if people are entitled to something, then, you know, especially when I was working, you knew what they were entitled to. You'd sort things out. Whereas probably not a priority with inexperience and that.
So get a question. It says, what's Sam's take on G4S? Do you know what that is, Sam?
Yeah, G4S is like a private company that was set up. We've had a lot of contracts to do with the justice system and that. Let me tell you this. I know this for a fact because I know somebody who worked with it. When they had the Olympics, yeah, big events. G4S famously, I'm sure they had one of the contracts for tagging. You know, tagging people round the ankle when they leave prison.
Yep.
Yeah. And what they were doing, they were claiming for monitoring people. They get so much if someone's tagged and monitoring them. That's part of the system. You check that they're home and that. They were claiming for people who didn't exist. Yeah. They were claiming for security staff when I think it was the Olympics was on or something. Yeah, that's the one. Chris Wentworth. Thank you, Chris. 2012, they were claiming, let's just say a hotel in Manchester that was going to have some athletes stopping at it, yeah? Let's say that hotel needed 30 staff and G4S were doing the security. There wouldn't be 30 staff, there'd be like 5 because they couldn't recruit enough people, but they'd still claim for 30 staff. And although this figure might not be bang on, I know it was ridiculous, they put in a claim, G4S, to the government for uniforms for the security staff. It was something like £2,000 per person. That's for 3 shirts and 3 pairs of trousers and maybe a tie. So what they did, they put excessive expense claims in, claim for staff they didn't have, and that was all paid out. And that's because someone in government, might have been Theresa May, you know, our previous Prime Minister.
Yes.
I'm sure her husband is something to do with G4S. So G4S make massive profits off the justice system. They run a few prisons that they make massive profits off. And same as your prisons in America, they should not be for profit. You know, whatever goes into it should be spent on the facilities, the regime, you know, purposeful activity, training, all these sorts of things. So, yeah, G4S. But the thing is as well, right, I know they're a dirty company. They make a lot of money off people's backs, fraudulent claims and all this. They still get paid out and they're still operating, which is totally wrong. So, there you go.
Wow. So they're a private contractor who works with the government.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Like I say, I'm sure it's Theresa May's husband was one of the main men in G4S.
Okay.
Because it's only the same as in America. They all line each other's pockets, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. They give the contracts to the same companies, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's messed up. And Kiernan goes on to say that they also house immigrants and take a fortune from.
Well, they got detention centres. They are some of them detention centres. We took a prisoner from Forest Bank, yeah, to I think you say Harmsworth Detention Centre. It's near the airport down London, yeah. This guy was a Romanian gypsy. Good story, this, Addy. Big lad, big, powerful lad. He was troublesome. He was down our segregation unit and he was going to get deported. He was an extremely violent rapist as well.
Oh, wow.
So a rapist. So normally, when you transport someone, we have what we call these closet chains and normal cuffs. You've seen the normal cuff with a long chain, and then there's the short cuff with a chain. Yeah. Well, when you transport someone, you have chubs, high security. Yeah, big thick locks with a short chain on them. And what you would do is you would cuff a prisoner like that, and then there'd be another cuff off his wrist to my wrist. Yeah. This guy was such a handful. He was cuffed, me on one side, and then there was a guy cuffed to his other arm. So there was 2 of us. I think there was probably six of us in the van as well. Normally that would be a 3 staff. Extremely violent. He was a proper handful. And we took him to this Samworth detention centre down London near the airport. Basically, they processed him, whatever they do, you know, paperwork, exchange paperwork. We took the cuffs off and off he went into this compound. I believe there were women and kids in that compound. This guy's a violent rapist. You know, he's not in cells, the detention centre. It's more like a camp. Yeah.
What are the women and children doing there?
Waiting to be deported, being held.
Oh, okay. So he's from
Romania.
Okay. Continue, please.
Yeah. So yeah, but basically we just let him go in that camp. You know, he'd been in prison. He'd been a handful. He'd taken a lot of staff to manage him, and we just let him go. You know.
Wow.
There you go, sort of thing. So them detention centres, awful. There's been a lot of kickoffs over the years at them detention centres, fires, riots, that sort of thing. So they're not good places. But G4S runs some of them as well.
Okay. And they're specifically in place to deport illegal immigrants. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, not necessarily all illegal. Like he was getting deported because he'd done 2 sentences over here for crime, obviously.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
crimes. Okay.
So we've had people, prisoners from the EU. Yeah, and but obviously part of the terms and conditions is you don't come to this country and commit crime. So they would take people off to detention centres maybe and send them back home. But we had one Romanian who just kept coming back. There's nothing to stop him. At one point, they were actually giving him money, £2,000 or £3,000, yeah, putting them on a plane back to their country of origin. Within days, they were back in this country.
What? I don't understand.
Beggars belief, doesn't it? It's not believable, is it?
I don't get your country sometimes, Sam. It's even more confusing than mine.
Well, you know, you explain it to me. I don't know either. I don't know either.
There's let's take a look at the comments here, Sam. Let's see. You're going to show on quote contracts. Oh, there was one comment I wanted to show you here, Sam. So Kieran was just saying they're cash cows from birth to death.
Yeah, G4S.
Where is it? Saying most men in prison have been abused in one way or another, which I don't think people realize that. Am I right, Sam? They culled a load of the old guard and wheeled a load of new contracts out for the new staff.
Well, what they did, keep changing people's contracts, Addy. Like when I was in the prison service, yeah, you sign on with a retirement age and a pension, yeah. That used to be written in stone. You know, so there was lads and lasses who were younger than me I worked with who should have been retiring at 60. They've now made their retirement age 68 and altered their pension. So they have messed about with people. Also in 2012, I think, 2013, they had voluntary redundancy in the prison service and they probably got rid of 5,000 experienced staff overnight, paid them off. Yeah, the top earners. That's our last, that, mate. Can you hold the fort for 2 minutes?
No problem, Sam. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. This is Addy Ads, Anakin Skywalker, YouTube's chosen one. If anybody has questions for Mr. Samworth, our favorite prison guard here on my channel, just put them in the comments below. I do, you have to excuse me, I missed a couple of you guys' comments before. You guys are going ham, so shout out to Noel0 out of Hartlepool. And there was one comment I wanted to show Sam. Shout out to Quadrex, of course, from Ireland. Oh, the riot. Yeah, we've actually talked about the riot before on previous podcasts, guys. If you want to check that out, I'm gonna organize them a little better once I have the time. CCDH, if somebody could define that for me. I did see David Icke is getting attacked, as is Sean, because he's the #2 collaborator for David Icke. But Sam is back with us.
Hartlepool.
Hartlepool, yeah. So we got somebody else from England, it seems, shouting out here. Sam, is that close to you?
It's up north a way bit further, but anyone where we are or up north, all good. You know what I mean? No southerners.
You like this one, Sam?
Yeah, definitely. That's right. That's what he says there.
Hartlepool. I said it wrong, didn't I? Hartlepool. Yeah.
Yeah. Your accent will come on more we chat, mate. What were we talking about then? I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about the contracts of the old guard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's something that's written in stone, you know, your employment contract. Yeah, they got rid of about 5,000. The prison officer used to be paid 29, 30,000. They got rid of them overnight, mate. New staff now, like I say, are on 22 grand a year. So as a prison officer, it's horrendous, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think you can support a family on that barely. I mean, you can, but
in this country, I believe, you know, we have a benefit system. There's family tax credits. So if your income, total income in a household, I think is below 24,000 a year, so $27,000 round about that, then you can top your money up with some benefit. So you can be working and claim benefit that will make your money up. I think the threshold for that's 24. So if you had a partner and a kid as a prison officer, you'd be able to claim a bit. The thing about prison officers is there's always going to be overtime, and they have a really good rate for overtime. So people will stay in the job for that. They'll just work more hours and make themselves unwell.
What is the overtime, Sam?
The overtime rate, it's somewhere between 24 and 30 pounds.
Is that time and a half?
It's just a set rate on all hours, which is
okay.
You know, people will look at that. You can obviously make your money up.
Yeah.
You know, it'll add quite a big chunk to your income. So they fall in poverty trap then, because they can make the money up with overtime. They're working lots of hours, and obviously contributes to people's mental health. So,
do you think? I mean, is that something you did a lot, Sam? Was you worked overtime?
Shitloads.
Yeah.
Everyone does. Yeah. You know, to be honest, when I look back, there was no benefit from it. You know, I didn't see anything from it. I didn't have a decent car or anything like that, or a better standard of living. It's just ridiculous, really. The best we've ever lived before I got finished when I was on the sick. So you get 6 months at full pay, and then I was on half pay me. So I was on about 900 pounds a month, £1,000 a month for 3 of us. My rent was like 400 a month, that sort of thing. But we managed better, you know, we appreciated money more, as it were. But you definitely don't see any benefit from working all them hours, you know. It's terrible, really. Do you know as well, little known fact, that at times over the last 5 years, prison officers have been paid a bonus to work overtime. So because they needed people to work, or because they were short staffed, so you were getting your overtime rate and a bonus.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, they should just get paid more from the start, shouldn't they?
Well, you know, one thing from Europe I do like, you know, 35, 37 and a half hour week. This country, historically, probably like America, our average working week's way above that, way above that.
Yeah.
You know, 35, 40 hours a week should be enough for anyone. But
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'll do my research on that, and we can talk about that later. I was just going to ask the comparison between that and the military, because I mean, in the United States, if you go in the military, you can support a family off that, especially if you're a commissioned officer. But even if you're enlisted, and you're in 20 years, you can definitely
oh,
support a family
you know
like.
what? Our squaddies don't get paid that well. Soldiers. Plus the fact board and lodgings get taken out of the money. You know, if they live on barracks or whatever, so they don't earn a fantastic amount of money. I don't think that's probably not appropriate either for the job in hand. But you know, it is what it is, isn't it?
I got a question from one of our viewers here, Sam. It's your boy Kieran. He says, What's your take, Sam, on the next 12 months? Can you see them rolling everything back 100%, or have many freedoms been lost already?"
That's a good question. This is what these protests are about. You know, do you know about this NHS app that they're wanting people to download onto our phones?
I think I've heard about it. Yeah,
Right,
is that a
it's a
contract?
tracker.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a tracker. So
yeah.
basically, it tracks me everywhere I go. If I come into contact with somebody who then tests positive for COVID or whatever, then we can see the principle behind it. I think a lot of people are thinking that our privacy's been eroded anyway. So there's some sort of temporary measures that the government's brought in that the police are operating on at the moment. Yeah. And I know the police or powers that be at the top are campaigning to keep these powers, and they're a massive infringement, on your civil liberties. So that would be an interesting time, because at the minute they're quite peaceful in this country. If you look in Europe, like I say, Spain, Italy, Germany, it's kicking off. France.
France is always kicking off, though, isn't it?
We're always seeing, not to be sort of protesting, I think, in this country. But if they really started trying to hack into civil liberties, I think they get a shock. I honestly do. I think, people are sort of being civil and going along with recommendations and going about. It's about being, right and proper. However, if you start telling me that, yeah, you can't just take off on your motorbike and go for a ride for pleasure and things like that, then be getting the middle finger, mate. And I'm sure a lot of other people like that. So this next 12 months, it will be interesting, because here's the thing: this COVID might pop up every winter. So there's no way people are gonna. It's like in this country, I think what people are fearful, if they lift this lockdown up and it go tits up and they try and get it back, it's not going to happen. If we have a nice summer, people are going to be on beaches and in parks. So that's where we are. But certainly civil liberties, things need to go back. I'm not sure they will. We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Definitely, Sam. And it's something we can only stay informed on and try to keep up to date as we see how things unfold. But we are nearing the end of our hour of Across the Pond here with Samworth. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and for contributing in the comment section on the live chat. Thanks for putting question, guys. It really makes this really enjoyable for both myself and Sam, because of that interaction we get with people from around the world. And we will be broadcasting again sometime this week. And do you have any final asks or conclusion before we sign off today, Sam?
I just hope that some good comes from all this. Maybe people will be nicer to people or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, Sam. And before we sign off, can I just see what is What shirt are you wearing?
Oh, it's just Sports Direct. It's a cheap sports clothes outlet, and it's a no fear t-shirt.
Okay, I like it. Good stuff. Thanks you, Sam, for chatting with me today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been Across the Pond with Addy Ads and Sam Samworth. Until next time.